This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Shasheena Rolle. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news, the island of Grand Bahama recorded a traffic fatality this past weekend. The deadly crash, which occurred at the eastern end of the island, also sent 5 other persons to the local hospital. Joan Davis-Roll has our top story.
It was a gruesome scene Saturday morning as a badly burned shell of what used to be a Chevy Cobalt car owned by 24-year-old Lamont Lang of Freetown, East End, is all that is left following the tragic accident. A deadly mishap which claimed the life of Lang and sent occupants of another vehicle involved in the 2-car collision to the Rand Memorial Hospital. Debris from that fatal incident littered the street, and police officials were out in full force trying to determine what went wrong, as investigators attempted to put the pieces of what could be described as a deadly puzzle together. Officer in charge of the Eastern District, Superintendent of Police, David DeVoe.
A vehicle that was traveling west with 5 passengers collided with a vehicle that was traveling east. That vehicle had 1 passenger, the driver, lone person, the driver. As a result of the collision, the vehicle that had the 1 passenger, of course, upon impact, caught fire, and the driver perished. The persons in the vehicle that were traveling west, there were 5 persons, like I said. 3 of those persons received injuries.
From all indication, it appears that the victim died on impact. Eric Molesville, who lives on the property of the old Freetown farm, says he was on the scene moments after the smash-up occurred. He recalls the horrifying sounds of the crash and how he witnessed the deadly blaze.
We heard a loud bang and came running out here, and there was a car on fire and another car with an accident. So we called the police and rescue, and they came and assessed the situation.
What went through your mind when you heard the loud bang?
Well, I know my sister and brother-in-law, they woke up off the bed because it startled them so bad. So it was a pretty loud explosion. 1 car was burning. We didn't know there was a victim in it at that point. And then there were 4 people in the other car.
The moments immediately after the accident, he said, were touch and go. He assisted officials in their rescue efforts and said he made the initial 911 call for help. He's expressing concern, however, about the response time by emergency officials.
It was pretty slow for them to get out here initially. The lady that answered the call didn't even know where we were, so she kept putting us on hold to find out where the farm was. So it took a while to get out here.
I think that may have played a factor, too.
Well, the gentleman was dead before the car stopped rolling, but it could have helped some of the other people if they had been here a little quicker.
Meanwhile, the police is issuing this warning to motorists who frequent the area.
The area is dark, not many light in this area at all, and what we found is that persons are speeding. I wish to appeal to those drivers to slow down, save lives. As a matter of fact, the life that you save could be your very own.
Joan Davis-Roll, ZNS Network News.
In other news, immigration officials nabbing a group of 3 French citizens and an American for illegal landing and the unauthorized use of a port. The 4 arriving on board a boat named the Kathy K on Thursday evening and docked at a resort in the Kaya area offloaded a quantity of items, including multiple flat-screen TVs, without clearing immigration and customs. The 3 women and the male captain were arraigned in court today before Magistrate Charlton Smith and were charged with illegal landing in an unauthorized port of entry. The captain, a French man, pled guilty to illegal landing and was fined $300 or 1 month behind bars. On the charge of assisting with illegal landing, he pled guilty and he was fined $6,000 or 6 months behind bars. Now, the 3 women, including the captain's American wife, pled guilty to entering an unauthorized port. They were given a fine of $300 each or 1 month behind bars. All of the fines were paid and the group was handed over to the Customs Department for processing. Now, we understand that all of the goods being brought in was seized by the Customs Department. Once this area of the investigation is complete, the 4 will be sent back home. The Free National Movement Senator John Bostwick expected to be charged this week with possession of ammunition. Police say the 42-year-old Nassau resident was traveling from Freeport to New Providence around 7 o'clock on Saturday night when he was stopped at the security checkpoint. Police say when Boswick's bags went through the customary X-ray check, officers noted a suspicious object and alerted the police. When police checked the bags, they say they discovered 10.22 rounds of ammunition. The senator was then arrested and taken into police custody. Now, the FNM released a statement offering prayers to the family and stating that as a party which respects the rule of law, the FNM confidently expects a thorough and professional police investigation and urges the public to allow due process to take its proper course. Well, knowledge is power, and this is why a local attorney is urging Bahamians to read up on the laws that govern them. At a town meeting hosted by a local government, Attorney Rankin Johnson appealed to Bahamians to become more in tune with the regulations that govern us all. Noted attorney Rankin Johnson was recently the guest speaker at the local government final town meeting. In speaking with residents, she urged them to become acquainted with the laws that govern this land, adding that residents should also know their rights. Firstly, she spoke about the importance of knowing the Constitution of the Bahamas.
In order to understand your rights and any laws that are passed by our parliament, in the past or in the present or in the future, you have to understand the primary act, which was passed in 1973, giving each and every one of us rights, the duties of the government, the duties of the opposition, the duties of the judges. It basically covers the foundation and the jurisdiction of this Commonwealth, an independent nation.
As for Grand Bahamians, she says it is vital that residents are aware of the provisions in the Hawksbill Creek Agreement.
When you read it for yourself, you get into the spirit and you say, you know what, I live here. I want to know how am I governed by a private company that has certain jurisdictions that is to be amended, if we so allow, in 2015, which is the most important thing, whether they are to pay property tax or whether they're going to be exempt for a further period of years.
And as local government elections draws near, she is urging residents to also become familiar with the Local Government Act and any amendments made.
It is us that they represent and have to look after some of the jurisdictions that have been given to them by the Act. In my humble opinion, it should not be curtailed, but it should remain as it was in the original Act so that they can function properly in representing us. And by us coming to such town meetings as these, we are telling them, we're going to talk to them what we want. They live here, they don't live in Hollywood, they live right here. So whatever good that we want for ourselves, they want the same for themselves. Nothing to do with politics. Nothing to do. It's us, the people. It's our lives, it's our livelihoods that we're interested in.
In other news, a local pastor and community leader joining forces with the police to promote safe communities after a walkabout in the area a few weeks ago. Partners have come together to form a crime watch committee in that area. Pastor Eddie Victor is leading the effort. He says the mission is to build strong communities, and it can be done by eliminating the criminal element.
What we are looking for, number one, is to have a safe community, and two, to create more awareness among the people in the neighborhood, not only awareness of who their neighbors are, but also to bring a closer bond. And so where we can actually say that the community, the people in the community are watching out for each other. And so that's what we are looking to achieve here today.
Now, Inspector Henry Rolle says it is always good when communities can come together to help the police. The officer responsible for urban renewal is pleased with the support of residents in that subdivision.
We realize that crime has a corrosive effect on the individuals and the communities. So, you know, we want to advise members of the community in Chesapeake and Lincoln Park to come out and support this initiative, because it is one that can bond a relationship with the police and the community, helping us to move forward. As you're aware, that crime has a toll on our department, which we have to enforce the laws of the Bahamas, and with us partnering with the community and having to solve some of these issues, it will make the quality of life much better for our communities.
Stay with us. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition continues right after this.